Hey. Ding, 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 ding. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Sipping Something Sexy. It is episode 11. I am your co-host, Amelia Lynne. And where's my girl, Brooklyn? I'm loving repping that Something Sexy t-shirt, girl. Ow! Yo, we stepping up in the game, Lynn. How you loving it?
Yeah, yeah, I love it all. Let's just get to it. Let's get to it. How are you doing?
It's great. But now, do you have a set of headphones? Because I'm due hearing.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'd rather you. Yeah, I'd rather you use a set of headphones because you're echoing. But while Lynn is getting this together, guys, I got to tell you, we have an extremely special guest. I met this queen in the 90s. The most humblest, most beautiful, spirited person I could ever imagine. And when I finally found out who she was, I was like, what? We are talking about none other than the infamous Dr. Ilyasah Shabazz, author, activist, orator. Oh my gosh, she's so many things. She's got 20 jobs. Everybody put your hands together for Miss Ilyasah Shabazz.
I'm so happy to be here with you. This is what I call a fun, fulfilling Sunday afternoon.
Yes.
Yes, Queen. Yes, yes. You know, we were talking earlier about this whole divide of generations. You know what I mean? So there might be some young viewers that we have on the scene that don't really know the history or whatever, or who Miss Ilyasah Shabazz is, right? So I'd like you to just give us a brief synopsis. Well, it's very hard to do that, but just who you are and how you totally came into your person.
Oh, that is a difficult one. So my name is Ilyasah Shabazz. I'm very honored that my parents are Malcolm X and Dr. Betty Shabazz. And I'm honored because they gave me so much, you know. And when I say that, thank you. When I say that they gave me so much, you know, sometimes people say, you know, how were you challenged? Am I echoing?
A little bit, but it's okay. I'm hearing you.
All right. How I was challenged to find my own self, my own shoes, footsteps, etc. And for me, it's been such an honor to have had that wisdom and that love and that trust, that model of all of these things, and especially the history and self-love. So I go on and try my best to instill it in the next generation.
Excellent. And, you know, you deserve an applause for that. Mecca usually comes with the applause right now, but it's all good. You know, 6 books in. Talk about that journey. What possessed you to write the first book, and then you wrote a book about your mom, and then you went back to books about your dad and the young dad, and just this whole journey, which has been amazing because it's given us a whole perspective on somebody that I have nothing but utmost homage for. Both of your parents, you know, and I had the pleasure of meeting your mom, and that was just like one of the most exhilarating days of my life. So talk about that process, because there's a lot of journalists, a lot of authors out here that have the idea, but they don't take the initiative. And you've done it a few times.
Well, you know, my mother just sort of instilled in me whatever it is you want to do. Just, you know, perseverance. When I look at my father, you know, it was such self-determination, manifestation, belief, faith. And so I have the same values. Um, I just remember going to the mall with a bunch of young girls, and I told them whatever they wanted, they could have. And they wanted to go to Barnes and Noble, and they started picking books. And I'm like, well, gosh, if you guys are picking books, I'm buying. And so all the books that they brought to me, wow, you know,
Yeah.
and you know, could tear you up a bit inside because at that time there really were no children's books, you know, young books for that promoted self-love. And I wanted to make sure that I could do that. And so I decided I was going to write Malcolm Little, the boy who grew up to become Malcolm X, and of course, the publishers were like, "A children's book about Malcolm X?" Yes, because we have been misinformed about who Malcolm was, right? And
Yes.
I saw my mother safeguard the legacy of her husband, not so that he could shine, but so that future generations could benefit from his work, right? And that's the reason why we have the Shabazz Center. And I'm the chairperson of the Shabazz Center with a dynamic team, and we are still building. So, my focus for the most part has been to inspire young people to self actualization. And
Yes.
we look at all the great work that's out there now, right? Viola Davis, the Woman King, okay? Just
Yes.
all of this great work that we are showing. And we're controlling the narrative. And so, that is the most important thing, to control our own narrative. We can't sit back and complain. We have to participate. My father said, only a fool would sit back and allow his enemy to teach his children.
Right.
Yes, Queen. Yes, yes, yes. Lynn?
Oh my gosh. Where am I going to start? Where am I going to start with Dr. Ilyasah Shabazz? So I was reading a little bit of the history. I believe you are an adjunct professor at John Jay College,
Of criminal justice.
my alma mater. Thank you. So that's why I was like, say word. Amazing. How was that experience?
Again, I love my students, and I think that it is an opportunity to do what I love, to do what I'm passionate about. Amelia knows my first love was the arts, and it's where I was so honored and fortunate to meet Amelia. And I just have to say, when in the 90s, when we met, this is when Public Enemy, KRS, Tribe Called Quest, all these artists were out. They were
Yep.
just coming out. And I loved hip hop. And most of my friends were like, what is this? And so when I met Amelia, Amelia was educated, committed. She had all of these qualities that my mother, encouraged in me. But, and on top of that, she was hip and cool. She was hip and
And she's hip hop.
She
Very
was
hip hop.
eloquent. She was so eloquent about hip hop, and she would be like, "Oh, that's dope," and I'm like, "Wow, okay." So, I always admired Amelia from afar, and it is the reason why I have not laid my eyes on this young lady since,
Oh my
back
God. I
then.
know.
But when she asked, "Can I, can we?" Interview you. I'm like, absolutely. My assistant was like, wait a minute, she's not following protocol. She doesn't have to follow protocol.
I love you.
Right.
And shout
When you
out to
know
Sharice
people.
because she's wonderful. She be handling her business. I love me some Sharice. Shout out to Sharice. Yes, Queen. Yes.
Awesome.
She's
But
so
you know what?
awesome.
I have to tell you, we were sitting down, Lynn and I were sitting down, and we were talking about, okay, so sipping something sexy, we really want to bring out some phenomenal women voices. And we started going down the list, and Lynn said, what about Dr. Ilyasah Shabazz? I was like, oh, yeah, that's my girl. She was like, what? I was like, yeah. I said, "Like, we can get her, we can get her." And then when you said yes, she was like, yes.
Yes.
So,
I'm super
so
stoked right now. I'm in my stand mode. I'm a whole stand. Like,
Oh, okay.
and you're a Delta. Let me find out. My mom is a Delta. Okay? My mom is
that's
just
what's up.
sophomore. So I was just like, wait a minute. She's teaching at my college. She's a Delta. Her mom was a Delta. I'm like, oh, my mom is a Delta. Shout out to the DSPs watching right now. I just gotta
Yay!
say, I know y'all want me to join. I'm working on it, y'all. I'm trying to get to my better, higher self to get there. But the other thing I wanted to say, and not to cut you off, Amelia, there were some things I read about your book. I took some notes, if y'all don't mind. Just let me holler at you for a second. Maya Angelou made a comment about, I think it was Growing Up X, that said, to paraphrase her, that Ilyasah Shabazz was the only person that could have told this story completely for the courage of what she saw, and what she said, and you felt that you really had to get this story out. And I was like, who else could have told that story of growing up ex but you? And it moved me for Dr. Maya Angelou to be recognizing Dr. Ilyasah Shabazz. I mean, it's just a woman love moment right there. But um, that moved me, and then I started looking at the other books that you had written, and I copied something because this almost brought me to tears. So just give me 1 second, y'all, because it really was incredible. With 9,000 pages there.
I
So,
love it.
okay, so here it goes. Talking about growing up ex. And this is a testament unto who this woman is. Born in 1962, Ilyasah was the middle child, a rambunctious live wire who fought for and won attention in an all female household. Let that roll around for a minute. She carried on the legacy of a renowned father, indomitable mother with navigating childhood, while navigating childhood and along the way, learning to do the hustle. Girl, stop it. She was a different color from other kids at camp, and yet years later, as a young woman, was not radical enough for her college classmates. Let that roll around for a minute. How could you be not radical enough for your college? So that's they're looking at you from both sides. Like your last name is Shabazz, you should be out here, girl. Anyway, there's always gonna be
Well,
haters.
well, actually, and I'm just going to say, and I'm going to let you continue. Radical enough in that their expectation was
Yes.
something that was not who I was.
Right.
They were misinformed on who Malcolm was. My father was
Yes.
all about love, right?
Yes.
Peace, freedom, joy, and that's who I was.
Right.
And so we had been misinformed, believing the hype, right? But and so I was most definitely my father's daughter.
Yeah.
But that's what I meant. They were like expecting you to be super radical, and you're like, let me approach this the way I know how to approach this, guys. Let's fall
Eloquently.
back and let me do me, right? And then it says her story is above all else a tribute to a mother of almost unimaginable forbearance, a woman who, from that day at the Audubon, when she heard the shots and threw her body on ours, never stopped shielding her children.
Never.
Whew, God,
Yes.
that deserves a hand clap there, Mister. When I read that, I was just like, I got to get this book. I got to go all in. This is a deep dive into a little bit of what your life was like, what you decided to share with us. And I just thank you for doing that because it had to be difficult. Your family has seen great success. Yeah, girl, there you go.
Ayy.
Growing up at.
Can we talk about that picture for
Yes,
1 second? Because
yes.
that's
Let's
how
talk
I
about that
actually,
picture.
yeah, that's how I actually knew who she was. Okay,
Right.
so yeah, like we said, we worked together and we were chilling and whatnot. We decided to go to lunch. We go up and it's Black History Month, and we're going up, and Time Warner's got this whole display for Black History Month. We walk into the cafeteria and Ilyasah stops short, and I'm looking like she says, "That's me," and I'm like, "What?" Mind you, I'm somebody that used to write all the book reports about Malcolm X, all the, biographies of Malcolm X. Like I was a Malcolm Xer, you know what I mean? And I'm like, that's Malcolm X. And you're saying that's you. That's your father? She looked at me like, duh, I just said
Yeah.
that was me. But that, one of the things that I loved about you is that you do remind me of your mom, and that you carry this aura of yourself where you know who you are, but it's a quiet, loud resonance. You know what I mean? Like, unless you know, you don't know, but the way you carry yourself, you know. You know what I mean? Is talk about how you winded up bringing that into your personality, and then we're going to go into break.
My mother was only in her 20s when her home was firebombed with her husband. They were laying
Yeah.
in bed. They loved each other. They loved their family. They loved their people. They loved their country. And to think that she lived through her home being firebombed in a fire, the bomb was thrown in the nursery where their baby slept, and she was pregnant. That's a lot. And then a week later, to witness her young husband, this invincible man who loved her 100%, to witness his assassination, My mother was a nurse at the time, so she gave him mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, and it evidently didn't help. But in spite of all that, my mother was still kind, loving. She
Yes.
loved to dance. She loved to smile. You felt her when she walked into the room. She came to the record label where I was and was like, where my daughter was working and who were her bosses, right?
Yo.
So, I
Wow.
tip my hat off to my mother. She never accepted no or I can't as an answer for herself. And that is the message that I always share with young people or people who have experienced loss, who've experienced losing family to incarceration, losing family to brutal, police brutality, just losing family, right? And never give in to no or I can't as an answer.
Well, we're going to take a break. You're listening to Dr. Ilyasah Shabazz right here on We're Sipping Something Sexy on Sunday with my co-host Brooklyn Ford. I am Amelia Ismore. We'll be right back. Oh my God, this show is fabulous, y'all. Legendary.
This is She's the Boss Radio Network. We are on 24 hours, 7 days a week, bringing you the best in internet radio with music, live.
Yeah, we're back. With none other than my co-host, Brooklyn. And the infamous, the one, the only Dr. Ilyasah Shabazz. I gotta do that. It's just too much fun, Ilyasah. You are an amazing advocate. You speak up on so many subjects. I want you to kind of talk about some of the things that we as a community should really be focusing on because there's so much going on. It seems like all these different things that we have to pay attention to is more of a distraction than an attraction to what our agenda is. So somebody that's right there on the forefront, what should we be paying attention to?
Well, I think there's so many things that we should be focusing on. But I think what's really important is not to give into this divide and conquer tactic that, we should be focusing on supporting one another, loving one another, life, right? Life is not eternal. It is a short amount of
Ooh,
time. We invest in
right.
ourselves and we, leave our legacy. And what is that legacy going to be? I think it's so important to come together with your group of friends, who are supportive, who love you. My platform primarily is education. I believe that every child deserves an opportunity to know that they are worthy of love, that they're worthy of a quality education, and that they're worthy to participate in mainstream society through jobs, economic empowerment, whatever that the case is. But just understanding that we have to give something back, no matter what it is. If we like to do makeup, then go give makeup free classes to children. Let's get, if you want to be a doctor, serve your communities with some free medical services. If you want to be a lawyer, fight for, equality, for rights, provide free service to all those young people behind bars,
Yeah.
create some quality programming, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm going to applause on that because, each one teach one. And I do believe that if you dedicate yourself to be the difference, you will make a difference, and it is all about the army of one. And lots of times I communicate to the youth that it's not that you can't, you just don't know how. So find somebody, find your passion and grow within so that you can, show without, you know what I mean? Who you are. And other people can wind up embracing that and helping you navigate this crazy thing called life, the roller coaster of life, of the many lessons that you've learned through your journey, especially on the advocacy side. What's that one thing that makes you get up every single day?
Truth, truth. Look at what we learned with Woman King. You have people, talking about, oh, that wasn't a true story. Oh, they participated in the slave trade, and what it, Sister Bright Byford said, what her biggest challenge was separating fact from fiction. That this group of women kicked
But
ASS
Mm-hmm.
ass, right? They were beating people down, and they shut down a slave trading quarters, right? And so let's tell these stories so that we understand the power that we possess. And so I just think it's so important that we understand our history. And like my father said, we can't just sit back and allow our enemy to teach our children. And not say, we're recognizing who those people who challenge, our freedom is.
exactly. And you know what's really interesting about that? I love that you say we cannot wait because, Senator Claire, shout out to Senator Claire, too. I got to give her applause for that because she did an event, Youth Day, at the State Building yesterday. And then she also did she helped sponsor the first John Coltrane Jazz Festival. And for one day, you saw this cross intergenerational day, you know what I mean? All accentuating what we're doing. There's so many organizations out there, black owned 501c3s that are really taking care of their community. She actually made a resource book. And I was like, finally, this is the message that we don't got to wait for the handout. We can take the initiative and be the difference. And it's so amazing to watch you and your work, because what I love about you, Ilyasah, Dr. Shabazz, is that you actually have a voice. People actually listen to you. When you first found out the power of the voice, your voice, what did you say to yourself?
It's funny. I was in my master's program, and we had to get up and convince our audience to do what we wanted them to do. And I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know this assignment was due on this day. So what in the heck am I going to get up and speak about? So when I said to my classmates, turn to the right and let your colleague know that you believe in them, and they actually did it, I was like, wow. It was just like, wow. Um, you know, I come from a household where I could trust my mother. I could trust that she loved me. I could trust the advice that she gave me. I could trust everything that she provided, my environment. And so I, in turn, am trustworthy. And I think that we manifest who we are, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Lynn?
Absolutely.
But you know what, Amelia, I just want to say I am so proud of you, because I haven't seen you, right?
No, I haven't.
You look the same, and I'm looking at you. You're coiffed. You still have your leather jacket on. And you and you too, Miss Brooklyn. And can I just say, me and my five sisters, or I should say, my five sisters and I were all born in Brooklyn. So let's
There you
hold
go.
Brooklyn holding it down.
Brooklyn.
Thank you, Dr. Ilyasah, for that. Thank you.
Absolutely. On Wikipedia, it says that we were born in Queens, but I'm always like, who wrote this Wikipedia stuff? We were
But
born in
no,
Brooklyn.
you can always go in and change it. You can contact them and tell them information is wrong and send them the update. I might do that now that I know you were born in Brooklyn, boo. I might have to go to
I'm
I
like,
might have to go
excuse
and
me,
correct
sir.
that. Excuse me, pardon
Excuse
me.
me, pardon
Yeah.
me.
But I did want to ask something. Wellness for me is another thing that I know that you have advocacy for. Wellness. It's a big deal. If we didn't think it was a big deal before the pandemic, we absolutely know how much of a big deal it is right now. What does Dr. Ilyasah Shabazz do to unplug besides sit here and talk to Amelia in Brooklyn? What does she do to unplug and keep your wellness in check? because you have come from a family, like I said, of huge success and also great tragedy. So, how do you keep your mind, spirit, body in check?
I have this great relationship with God. I'd like to say that I have a great relationship with my ancestors. And I have great friends. I come from a large family, of, as you know, of women. And so I think when you come from a large family, especially of women, that it teaches you how to be a friend. And
Mm-hmm.
I think having so many really good quality friends, sister girls that I can trust and rely on, that's also helpful, as well as my bed and my television.
Yeah, talk about the bed and the television. That helps to the bed and the television.
Exactly. You know, Ilyasah, so many times when you cross over into that celebrity status and queen, that's exactly where you have gone and, continued success to you. I'm so proud of you. There comes another sense of responsibility, right? Another sense of like, oh wow, like all eyes on me. And when you felt that, did that make you reassess who you were, or did it make you fine tune who you were because you knew so many eyes were on you, or was it always your life because of who you are?
So, I was challenged when I went to college, right? And I called my older sister, Atala, and asked her, who was I supposed to be? Because everyone is chasing me on campus about, you're Malcolm X's daughter, you're Malcolm X's daughter. And it was overwhelming for me because, I spent summers in Vermont, right? And
Yeah.
then, it with my grandparents and all of my uncles during school break who didn't let anyone near us.
Right.
And then I was in prep school, and so I was sort of in this lily white environment, but really
Mhm.
proud of who I was because my mother made sure we had these tutors that came and let us know. But I think when my sister said you don't have to pass the test to become Malcolm X's daughter, you already are, it made me realize the relationship that we have with God is most important. You
Mhm.
know, in Islam, we learn that God is the only judge. And so it
Yes.
doesn't matter what people think about you. What matters is, are you living up to your humanity? Are you favorable in God's eyes? Because it's inevitable that each one of us is going to knock on that gate, right?
Yep.
That's it.
Yep. And that makes sense. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. And sometimes people need to realize that. I mean, I think that that to me is one of your finest attributes is your humility and your sense of responsibility to humanity. It's a noble quality. And when you want to communicate that to others, the importance of it, because it seems like in all that you've written, all that you've spoken, research that I did, that's kind of like paramount. If you had to have the order of priority of things that are important to you, what is that order? What are those things and what is that order?
I'm really committed to God first and foremost. I am so committed to my ancestors, the great ones who birthed humanity, who birthed thriving civilizations, who built the pyramids, who built these monuments that everybody is trying to take as their own identity.
Mm.
Oh my gosh, it's just too much,
It's
right?
terrible.
It really is. But then those that endured human trafficking, held in bondage, just all of the terror and trauma, generational terror and trauma, and those that are thriving, right? That is who I am most passionate about. And our young people, this young generation, making sure that they recognize, the greatness that is, that lives in their blood. And it's whether we're black, white, red, yellow, green, brown, black history is American history, Native American,
Right.
Asian history, Latin history. It's all American history. So let's have this reflective in our education curriculum so that every
Absolutely.
child has the opportunity to know that they're worthy of self love.
Yes. With
Amen.
that, we're going to get ready to go to break. We'll be right back. You are watching Sipping Something Sexy right here on Sunday at twitch.tv/IMD Mecca, as well as www.she'sthebossradio.com. We'll be right back.
This is the official She's the Boss Radio Network. We're online 24/7. 24/7. You're listening to the hottest internet station. She's the Boss Radio Network. Radio Network.
Yeah. We are back.
This is.
What's up, everybody? If you've been tuning in, we have none other than Dr. Ilyasah Shabazz and my co-host Brooklyn in the building. We are talking about everything this phenomenal woman has touched, has embraced, has empowered, has endured. You know, it's like all these amazing adjectives that goes to you and your journey. I mean, I have to salute you, Queen, because it's not easy, you know, especially being a woman, you know, in an area that so many, especially when you talk about advocacy, even though there's a lot more women doing it, the time that you started breaking out was kind of, you were one of few. You had the elders like Maya and some other people looking out for you, you know, but for the most part, making that pathway, what were you constantly telling yourself? How did you navigate and say, yep, this was right, nope, this was wrong? Was there a standard, was there a protocol that you can help others do that walk?
Well, I think it's really important. And again, all of my students, I try and teach them the same challenges that I had. And that was finding my voice because the expectations were huge. And again, I had not grown up as my father. I grew up, like I said, in Vermont,
I
That's so
love it.
crazy to me. What?
So I was like, God, please give me my voice. Please give me my voice. Let me be passionate about something, where I can help my people. And I was very passionate about education. And I think it's just so important to find your voice as soon as possible. I think when you find your voice, you just own who you are. We have to ask questions. That's what life was always about. There was the rites of passage for women. There were the right, for young girls becoming women. There were rites of passage for young boys becoming men. There were rites of passage, for women who were becoming wives and so forth and so on. So there was always this sort of tutelage. And so we have to just be very comfortable with asking the questions that we don't know because all that stuff has been dismantled. When my father talked about, we don't know, who we are, our culture, etc. It's just understanding that there are lessons to becoming human, to growing.
Yes. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Shout out to our chat room. They're chatting in and shaking
chatting
in.
away.
So, we're loving them as well. Lynn, you had a question too, right?
I
I
do
just want
have
to
a
direct it to
question.
you.
So I hope this is not out of place or inappropriate, Dr. Ilyasah Shabazz. And I'm asking this for a reason. I'm asking, what is your view on, no, it's not going to be crazy. What is your view on love, Black love, in our relationships, where we are in our relationships with our partners? Because I don't know if all of you saw the meme maybe 2 years ago that was going around, where there was a meme of Jay-Z and Beyonce, and it said, all of y'all out here trying to run and get the bag and be like these two. And that was at the top. And the picture underneath it was Malcolm and Betty and said, I'm trying to grow up to be like these two and have a love like this. And that really, like, out of all the crazy things you see on social media, that right there, they hit it on the head. And so that's why I'm asking you, because when people finally got that moment of, hey, it's not all about the bag, because we didn't necessarily have to have a pot to or a window to throw it out of, but our loyalty honesty, trust, and belief in each other and our upliftment of each other meant everything. And Malcolm X and Dr. Betty Shabazz were the epitome of that. We have a few people that are like that, right? So tell me, what is your voice on love and relationships?
Well, first, I didn't see that post. And
Awesome.
so if you
I'm gonna
want to
send it to you.
send it to me at
I'm
Ilyasah
gonna send it to you.
on Instagram, I would be
Got
good
it.
for that. I think that's, great. I think it's realistic, right? Because when we choose our mate, we want to choose who has our back, shares the same perspective. Who can we partner with for the rest of our life? Who can we tolerate, right, for the rest of our life?
Ooh, girl, say that again. For the people in the
That
back that
part.
couldn't hear you.
Wait a minute,
Yes,
D Nick is clapping on that one. Our producer's sitting in the back. He's male and he's clapping on that one. Tolerate.
Yes, right. All of those things. I remember going to my mother and father's papers, and my father would they would cut clippings, and so most of my father's news clippings were of some sort of injustice endured by anyone, red, white, black, yellow, brown. And my mother's clippings, it must have been like a date Saturday date night or something, and they're cutting cutting news clippings. And my mother's clippings were of that women who um, ask a lot of questions or have commentary are doing that because they're educated and they want to know more. So it told me a lot about their relationship. And then reading about something my father said, when you're choosing a mate, choose someone that you can have substantive conversations, right?
Yes.
And
absolutely.
recognize that you're on the same team.
Right.
Yes, that
Not
part.
fighting each other. We are on the same team together. I support
Girl.
you. I want to know that you support me. I have your back. I want to know you have my back too.
Right.
Yes, that part.
Right.
That is so real. And there's so many systemic things. Like I got something in my Instagram today where it was a reel about just how systemically, because of the civil rights movement and because they realized that it was the black man that was holding the black family down, and because it was the black man that was leading this movement, that they had to take him out, that they had to disenfranchise him.
And when
And
you
then they
say
Mhm.
went,
holding the family down, you mean holding this. You mean the support.
The nuclear.
yes,
They
Mm-hmm.
weren't
yes,
talking
Mm-hmm.
about weighing the family down.
No, not Wayne.
no, no,
You
no.
meant holding them. Mm-hmm.
Holding it. And that was my
Nuclear.
dad. My dad was the glue to our family structure.
Mm-hmm.
What he said went. That's it. You know what I mean? But at the same time, he would always look at what's best. And my dad has been gone for what, almost 18 years, and he's still taking care of my mom from the grave. That's a man. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
He made sure that his family was set regardless. And that's what they were, And now looking at some of the examples that we have for our male men, I can only imagine the men that really take on the same moniker as your dad, how they feel. And I talk with my producer about this at times. It's really tough to be a black man nowadays.
Yeah, and I think it's tough by design. That's why it's important to get
Yep.
someone who looks like you, who can help, you hold it down. We look at the strength and all of who women have been in history, especially with the Woman King, right? It just seems that it is important when we're choosing our mates that we are choosing them with a great list. You can meet these things on my list, and the list is not, are they light skinned? Do they have good hair? The list is, who is he at his core? Is he giving back to society? Is he going to be faithful to me? Does he want to accomplish similar goals? Does he want to serve the community? What is it? How can we both grow together?
Exactly.
And I think there's nothing
Yes.
wrong with, making money. Is he entrepreneurial? Is he hardworking? Is he a good
Right.
husband?
Because you need that. You need that. Oh, thank you for that
Oh,
answer.
wait a minute. Mecca said, can he breathe? That's hilarious. But it's real. In a lot of orientation that I do with women, especially like yesterday, I spoke at an event for domestic women. And shout out to first time bookings. You did an excellent job, Julie. Laura was there. Jamie Foster Brown was there. Fel Davis from Public Announcement was there. Kevy Kev. Oh goodness, he's gonna kill me. True School DJ Kevy Kev Rockwell. He was spinning. I mean, it was amazing to see everybody come together for a real reason. But what we talked about is that you do have a choice, and you don't have to accept something that is not right for you. He is actually just the same way you're applying for the job to be his woman. He's applying for the job to be, your
Your
man.
man, your
And
partner, right?
right. And that is a serious contemplation because the ramifications of, uniting with the wrong person can be deadly.
Yeah.
No, no, no.
Another thing that I thought was really important, as I get older, I realize, I mentor a lot of young girls, and I think what's really important is you can't love others if you've never been loved, right? It's hard to do that. And so it is really
Yes.
important to make sure that our children know what real love feels like. And I would imagine, Amelia, it is the reason why you always appeared to me to be so together. I always admired you. And
Likewise.
you had the foundation. You had a father who was there, who loved you. You had a father who was there that loved your mother, who showed, you know, how he was going to hold that family down. So I think that's really important. And it's just one of the reasons why I try to make sure that I incorporate this thing of free love. I love
Yes.
myself. I love myself because my parents provided an environment that instilled that. I love
Right.
who I am. In turn, I see you as a reflection of me. I love you
Yes.
as much as I love myself, and it is how I can commit.
Exactly. Exactly. And here's the other thing that a good friend told me that made so much sense. He was like, listen, hurt people hurt people. And that's what I shared last night. I was like, hurt people hurt people. And so the only way to help a hurt person is to heal yourself first. Because when you know how to heal you, you can then communicate to them what they need to do. And you also have that standard of whether or not they're really doing it. And if they're not, then you got to peel that onion of denial and face the truth, which, don't be fear, because that's face everything and rise, and just admit, yep, nope,
Right.
and really stick to it. Yep, nope.
Somebody in the chat room, sorry, somebody in the chat room said, "Wow, she called out my whole list." On the list was,
Oh, by the way, if anybody wants to call in and talk to Dr. Ilyasah Shabazz, the telephone number is 347-305-5205. I'm going to say that again, 347-305-5205. Come on, call in, call in, call in, call in. Let's get it going, let's get it going.
yeah.
I did a scene when I first started acting. I did a scene from the Malcolm X movie, and I had to play your mom. And what was really interesting in the character research that I did with her and the scene that we actually did, it was a scene from the movie where they're sitting down and they're talking about the headlines, right? And she's communicating to him the need that although he's looking at everything else and paying attention to everything else, she and the children still need it. His response was
Caller.
yep, we got to call. I'm gonna come back to that. Yeah, it showed me, Dr. Shabazz, the other one, her quiet strength and the real hold and respect she had from him. That she was one of the few that could actually give him critical critique and he would actually listen. You know? I would love for you to chime in. Wait, who's our caller? Who's our caller?
Hi, this is Kelly calling for Dr. Shabazz.
Okay. Hi, Kelly.
Hi. What do you want to ask Dr.
Can you
Shabazz?
Hi, Kelly.
I'm, I love what you ladies are talking about, and I'm curious with all the women that Dr. Shabazz mentors, if she's seeing a trend and that women are waiting. They're not letting their hormones sort of manage them. They're sort of using their own resource, their own emotional intelligence to like create a pause and really wait for the right person who can be reciprocal, like her parents were. That's my question.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that we have to show them that. I think if they've never seen that, if they've never heard that, and our some of these marginalized communities are designed for them to never experience that. And I think,
Mm.
again, it's the reason for these sororities, it's the reason for these social organizations. I remember, I was in Jack and Jill growing up, and there were some of my sisters who were like, I'm not participating in that. But I think it's really important for people who are underserved to see people who look like them lending a helping hand rather than
Yes.
seeing other people helping all the time, and that just gives you a false sense of inferiority. So I think, Kelly, that it is important that we all are instilling these kinds of values and lessons in our young girls.
Yes. We got to take another break. We're going to come back and continue this subject matter because I did a Mr. Misden and I want to talk about that. Just that whole impact of adult women with young ladies. So you guys are watching Sipping Something Sexy right here on Sunday at twitch.tv/IMD Mecca as well as www. She's the Boss Radio. I am Amelia Moore and my co-host Brooklyn and our producer D Mecca will be right back.
This is She's the Boss Radio Network. We are on 24 hours, 7 days a week, bringing you the
Bag. Hey,
Hi.
Brooklyn.
We're
And where's the
back.
queen? Where's the queen? There she is. Dr. Ilyasah Shabazz. Oh my gosh, I'm so thankful for you to come on this show today. I mean, it's been
I am
amazing.
too.
We were talking about our youth and our young girls, and I agree with you. There are some communities that are marginalized, and to the point where they don't necessarily have the right images. They don't really understand unconditional love. They're pulled apart in so many different ways and picked on in so many different ways. Oh, you're not this, or you're not that. That's more of the narrative than, oh my God, that's a beautiful dress, or oh my God, I love your earrings, that type of thing. And so this self-hate is kind of bred or indoctrinated within their day. And then you get somebody like me that's like, oh, I love this and I love that. Is she for real? How do you deal with that? Is she for real? Kind of attitude to change it to make them really realize, yeah, I am for real.
Yeah, for me, we learned about stories when Shake Top People would come to our house every Wednesday. We learned about stories, the significant contributions women made to the world, the significant contributions people of the African diaspora, first world nations made to
Mm.
the world, and the significant contributions that Islam made to the world. And so I think it's so important that these young girls learn history and that these books are a reflection of who they are and who they can become, and that they see this demonstration of love, that they see this demonstration of compliment.
I wanted to finish the sentence. Go ahead. You got it? You answered it? Okay.
We
Go ahead.
also have a question in the
Go ahead,
chat room
Dr.
when she's done.
Shabazz.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go ahead, Dr. Shabazz.
Oh yeah,
So you would.
so I just think, again, that it is our responsibility. Right.
Yeah.
It's our responsibility to make sure that these young girls can participate in some of these programs. The Delta Sigma Theta has the Dr. Betty Shabazz Academy. We have so many different kinds of academies for all children. At the Shabazz Center, we have different kinds of programs for all children that we are creating. And I think, your local boys club, girls club, the King Center, there's
Mm-hmm.
so many places where our children can find, um, you know, some tutorial
Refuge.
kind of refuge. Some,
Yes.
right.
Because
And
at
a
the end
sense
of
of
the day,
community.
my mom used to say, I'm going to get to the caller, but I just want to say this one last sentence. My mom, who's in the education forever, right, used to say that so many of our children are surviving, they're not even thriving. And
Mm.
so that's what we have to teach them, how to switch from survive to thrive. Who's our caller on the line?
Hi, this is Yvonne of YNH Web.
Hi, Miss Webb.
How you doing?
What's your
I
question?
just wanted to give kudos to you, Dr. Shabazz. I really appreciate you giving out all of the knowledge that you've acquired. Growing up myself, I never knew anything about who Malcolm X was. And when I went to college, I was challenged by one of my professors to do a report. And I did a lot of research. Living in Harlem, I wound up going to the Schomburg Center and got to listen to the records of your father speak and go through microfiche of articles, and just, it almost took me back to those times. And it was an enlightening experience that I felt that it was almost spiritual, because I felt like they took away the strength of the black man when they took away your father.
Amen. Yeah.
So from that experience, I just wanted to know: you did mention something about the Malcolm X Center?
So
Yeah.
you want to know where it is and more details about it?
Yeah, 'cause you
Yes,
said,
I would like to
they're
know more
current.
information where our children can go and learn and.
Right. So we're creating a Malcolm X curriculum right now. Um,
Yes.
and you can go to the shabazzcenter.org and see some of the programs or enroll in some of the programs that we have. We even have scholarships that we've partnered with Scholly. Um, there's so many different programs
Mhm.
available, and also going online. There's just so much.
Well, we're getting a little bit of reverb from the phone call, but thank you, Miss Webb. Thank you for
Thank
asking that
you.
question.
Thank
That was
you.
amazing. And yeah, you guys,
Take care.
and forgive me, Ilyasah, because I always say accents, but it's Shabazz. Let's just say it right. Okay, everybody gets on me about not saying names right. Shabazz. But I want to get back to this whole thing about the power of one, right? And instilling that in others. As a mentor, right now I'm looking at some of the kids that I mentored when they were young and where they are now in life, and saying, wow, I had a little bit of a hand in that, and that feels so good.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give me an example of like that good feeling that you might have had, or a story that you might have had that would, just give us more insight on just that whole impact you've been doing for so many years?
Well, I don't think I keep record, but whenever we have programs and I have young people that I've known for such a long time, and to see how they've grown, I'm always proud.
Yeah, that part. It feels real good. It's like, wow, and I don't know for you, but for me, it keeps me going. Because I think about, if I don't do it, who else will? And if I'm called to do this, then I must answer my assignment. regardless of how tough it is. Is that what you tell yourself? Because I know it's a roller coaster ride. This ain't no easy ride. You know, when you're going through those valleys before you start going up to the peak, what do you tell yourself?
I just do it. I look at what my mother did, to think that she was a young woman who was in love with her husband, and this man, was everything to her and provided everything, that to see him gunned down and lose his life or take his last breath, but still go on and live a healthy, productive life, committed to ensuring that not only her children experienced self-love and understood what a purposeful life can be, but that she did that for so many others. Um, it's those kinds of things that just fortify me to keep going and to keep doing whatever I can do, because our time here is so short.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, if I could chime in on that one,
Yep.
what you were talking about, Amelia, and what Ilyasah just tapped on, which is everything for all of us, is finding your purpose. Once you find your purpose, your voice comes with that.
That's right.
It comes right with it, because when you found your purpose, it's that thing. It is that thing that gets you up in the morning. It will get you fired up, whether it's mentoring kids, right? I have a program where I mentor kids down here in Florida now. I've been at it for 3 years, and I've already watched the first graduating class. They're all in college now. They're sophomores already in college. And so I'm anxious to start this new class, but that's part of my purpose. I know it. It's part of my purpose. So there's so many things that God gives us talents to do. You got to tap into it and do it.
That's
You
right.
have to tap into it. And some of them just come out of you without you even knowing. You just walk into it, and next thing you know, you have stepped into your destiny. I don't think there is anything else that Dr. Ilyasah Shabazz was going to be destined to do besides what she's doing right now.
Ew.
It's amazing.
So, what is next, Ilyasah?
Yes.
How can we, your supporters, continue to support you in your endeavors? And, what's next for you?
Well, I'm working on a television series.
Okay.
Yeah, with two of my books. I'm really excited about that.
Wow.
And, I continue to do all of the other things that I aspired to do.
And they can find out more information just by going to the Betty Shabazz Center, as well as your website. Give them that information as well.
Right, my website. Well, it's funny. I used to post all the where I lecture very routinely, and I travel throughout the country, and sometimes I'm fortunate to go abroad, and I lecture quite frequently about all the things that we're discussing now, and so I'm grateful for that. But I don't really post where I'm going to be next, and so sometimes after.
As
That's
you
smart.
should.
That's
As
smart.
you
That's
should.
smart. Oh, we got another caller. And then after that, I want to talk about the eloquence of your father's vocabulary. Oh my gosh. Hey,
We got
caller,
2
who
minutes.
are you? Hello. Okay, you got to turn your radio down, otherwise we got to disconnect you.
Hello.
Turn everything
I am
off.
Dr.
Hello. Hello, you got to turn everything off because you're echoing. So, okay. Talk to
Okay,
me.
can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yes.
eloquently.
Oh, okay, thank you so much. So I actually do not have a question, but I do want to call in because I want to say that Dr. Shabazz is my soul sister, and I just want the viewers to know that everything that you hear and see about her, I'm Dr. Weathers, Amelia Weathers, is that and so much more. She walks and breathes and thinks and is the elegance of just grace and love. So I wanted the viewers to know that what you see and hear, it is just 10 times full of who she really is. So I don't have a question because I think there is no question for love. When you see love, you're engulfed by her love.
Well, thank you very much.
Amazing.
We love that. We love the love. Trust me.
Awesome. Thank you.
That is one of my
And
girlfriends.
what and
Shabazz Center is just amazing. So please look, please reach out and join us there.
We will support it.
And you were saying, Ilyasah, that's one of your dear sister
I
friends.
love her. I love you, Dr. Anne-Marie Weathers.
Ow! And, for those that are listening, this is what we as queens should be doing. Okay? You just witnessed it. You just felt it. I mean, we were all smiling and laughing, and that's what that's how contagious love is. Let it in. Let's talk about your dad's vocabulary. Because when Miss Webb was talking about listening to those speeches, I have to be honest, I'm dating myself, but I was one of those kids. Anytime your dad did a speech, I was like this in front of the TV, or like this in front of the radio, because he had a manner of putting people in place. And 1 minute he'd be talking like he was on the block, and the next minute he's talking like he's a doctorate of every education, And I used to be so like, wow, what was it like? Because my dad used to play a game with me where he would say, Amelia, stop being so redundant. And then I would be like, oh, God, what does that mean? And he'd go to the dictionary. Did your dad play that kind of thing? Like, he had such a vast vocabulary. What was that like in the house? Like, did he force that kind of on you, or?
Well, Amelia, darling, my father was assassinated before his girls could grow up.
Oh, that's true.
Unfortunately, he did leave 6 babies. He did leave 6 girls, and he did leave a wife who was brilliant and committed and loving and kind and compassionate and grew up in the church. I had, what was I going to say? This book right here, this is my latest book, and this is one of the books that my television series, or I should say our television series, is going to be based on.
Awakening Malcolm X?
Yes.
Malcolm X, yes. And so what we discovered is that my father didn't read the dictionary because he couldn't read or write. He was a star debater on the prison team, right? He was 18 when he went to jail. He wasn't 30 or 40 or 50. He wasn't a grown man, all these ex-convicts. But that he was a young teenager who had been told that he could not be a lawyer as a Black person. Basically said Black life doesn't matter. And he went out of this self-love, right? I think when young people find themselves at a crossroads, they don't say, oh, let me get a good education. They're looking for critical thinkers who care for them, who are going to guide them back to the right path. And so we discovered when Malcolm went to jail that he was able to resort back to the values that his parents instilled in him, but they killed his father, they took his mother away against her will and put her in an institution, they separated the family, and they took the home of where his father purchased land that was reserved for whites only in the 1920s during Black Wall Street, that whole time, and they took that land back. And so, when you find young people in pain, it is our responsibility to do whatever we can to bring them back.
Yes. That deserves an applause, because that's real. And the other thing that I love to do with our kids, and I said it earlier, is you can do anything. And one of my after-school programs that I had in the South Bronx, I had my kids doing everything. They were on radio. They had their own radio show. I had another young girl published at 12 years old because she wanted to be an animator, and she won DMC Daryl's comic book competition. That was a citywide thing. I also had a step team that stepped against gun violence, stopped gun violence in their home, in their project, which was the third worst in New York City, for 276 days. So it's possible. And then they got a $20,000 grant from Allstate, went to LA. Whoopi Goldberg came to McKinley Housing, right? Like that part. And when all of these things were happening, these kids started standing a little bit taller. I'm like, listen, we McKinley, and that to me is the essence of what these programs should do. But I know in your journey, you've probably discovered some that don't do that. And what do we do about them? Because, the bad part about it is, I got to shut down because they really weren't doing anything. And they were robbing from the kids. And it was just horrible. But now the community doesn't have anything.
And they need something.
And it's like a double-edged sword.
Right.
It's
And
like...
my father said, don't sit back and allow the enemy to teach. Because we can't just sit back and wait and complain that there's nothing for our children. We have to get out there and create, right? And I'm sure, Amelia, it's why you create this, all of the work that you do. The same thing with Brooklyn Ford. I know it's why you create all the work that you do. And we can go on the internet and we can find many sisters, many brothers, many men, women, of all different faiths who are doing work so that they are empowering this young generation.
Lynn, you always do that word game. I was hoping that you decided to do it this go round. Did you?
Well, we can do it.
Yes, because I love this word game.
We can do it. I got to kind of charge my phone over here before it dies.
Are we coming to the end of the clock?
Yeah, we're coming to the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're coming to the end.
I'm going to ask a couple of words. You just give me your response straight off the top of your head of what you think. First word, politics.
You stumped her. Silence.
This is what I was thinking. If I may. I saw this morning. I saw Busta Rhymes on Saturday Night Live last night, and so I was so distracted with wanting to give him a shout out because he was in that young crew, Amelia, where we were right when we started our careers in the arts and entertainment. And so it was good to see Busta Rhymes still healthy, still energized, still inspiring and empowering on Saturday Night Live. So I just wanted to say that. Okay, so when I think of politics, what do I think of? I think of my father, he said the ballot or the bullet. That politics is extremely important. If we want to participate in our communities, right, that we have to be involved in them.
Well, we're going to leave it at that. You have been, that whole hour went by so fast. Can you stand it? You have been watching Sipping on Something Sexy right here on Sunday with our infamous, our delectable, she's just exciting, wonderful, every other phenomenal woman, Dr. Betty Shabazz. Ilyasah. Shabazz. Thank you so much. I love you, sister. Continued success to you. If you ever need us, we're here. That's it, y'all. Check us out every second and fourth Sunday, run from 3 to 4 p.m. with my co-host, Brooklyn Ford. Brooklyn.
Shout out to my producer on this end in Florida, Gabriel, and Dr. Ilyasah. Shabazz, we love you. Definitely got to get in touch with you. I'm going to send you that theme so you can see it about your mom and dad. Thank you so
shout
much
out to our chat room. I love y'all. We'll see you next time.
Take care, y'all.
Love is the answer. Peace.
Oh,